Hello, lovely people. I'm back. It's Alethea Thomas. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't been here before, I usually film videos about books and bookish things. So if you are interested in that, then welcome. You are in the right place. Today I'm going to be talking about what I read in the month of October. So let's go ahead and get this wrap up started. I read quite a few books in the month of October, which I was very pleased about. I participated mostly in a little event, an event that they hold in October called Victober. And I had some information about Victober in previous video of mine. I will try to link that here so that you can go to that. It is a really fun event. I enjoyed it a lot. Mostly it's just about reading about Victorian literature during the month of October. It's really cool. I hope that they continue this on, into forever and ever. It would be really cool. But I think they've been doing it for like 6 years now. I may be wrong about that, but about 6 years or so. So let me go ahead and list out what books I actually read for Victober. The first one I read was The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Really good. I had never actually read this one before. I pretty much just knew, culturally the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but I really didn't know the whole story. And so it was really cool to kind of read that and understand everything that was going on in it, the full story. And it was really cool. It talked about, I think, a lot about repression of feelings and thoughts and actions, and kind of really spotlighted the repression of the Victorian era, the repression of the emotions and, feelings and things like that, through the character Jekyll. I think that was really, really cool. And it was just an interesting commentary on that. And it wasn't horrifying necessarily. It's actually quite tame for people nowadays, but I specifically enjoyed that a lot. I like the Gothic a lot. I have found in the last couple of years, I really like a good Gothic novel, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was a very good Gothic novella, kind of shortish novel. So if you're at all interested in that kind of thing, I would definitely recommend reading it for sure. I gave it a 4 stars out of 5. I got a little bit bored with it in places, but not like so bored that I couldn't keep going on with it. The next book for Victober was The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. It was a really good book. I enjoyed The Tenant of Wildfell Hall quite a lot. I had read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte previously. This book is by Anne Bronte, and no, I'm sorry. This is the only book I've read by Anne Bronte. Emily Bronte wrote Wuthering Heights. So this will be like the 3rd book of the Bronte sisters that I have read. Very good book. The beginning of it was kind of boring because we were being introduced to all of these characters, the neighborhood that the new tenant of Wildfell Hall was coming into. We were getting kind of the background of the place, the background of all of these characters. And we didn't really get into the good juicy parts until, I want to say, almost halfway through this book. But it wasn't that it wasn't entertaining. It just didn't really pick up. But then once you find out the history of the tenant of Wildfell Hall herself, then things get really interesting. The story really picks up. And I was like, I've got to know what happens. So, yeah, it picked up really well. So I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. And I would say anybody that loves the Bronte sisters should read it. It is an excellent book. It's got beautiful description in it. Pretty much everything you would expect out of a Bronte sister. Now, it's not on the level of a Jane Eyre. It is definitely not on the level of a Wuthering Heights. I think that those 2 books are a little bit above this one, but it still is a really good reflection on their talent. I think there's a really good reflection on those sisters in general. I think it's a great book. So I cannot wait to read another Bronte. In fact, we'll talk about that now, actually. So another book that I picked up for Victober was Villette. Honestly, I'm 95% through Villette. I haven't finished it yet because my hold on the library ended suddenly, and because I didn't realize that, oh gosh, yeah, I checked this book out way early in the month, so I cut my time on it way too short, and I didn't get started on it fast enough. So I'm waiting right now for my hold to come back in so I can finish out the very ending of the book. I enjoy Villette. It's quite good. As soon as I get it finished, I'll give you like my 100% review on it. But that'll be like the fourth book then. Yeah, the fourth book that I have read by the Bronte sisters. Villette's quite good. So cozy. Oh my gosh, it's like the coziest book ever. But I do get a little bit bored with it because of the talk constantly of school and schooling and stuff like that. And I also get a little bit angry with one of the male characters in the book. He's a professor, and his opinions on women and women learning and women being potentially smarter than him really makes me angry. So the feminist insight, the commentary, the feminist commentary on this is very good. I think it's great, but also a little bit annoying too, because I'm kind of beyond all that stuff. So yeah, I mean that's just my opinion on 10 out of Wildfell Hall. It's good. But like I said, I'm like 95% through, and I haven't gotten to the end yet, so I can't give you my 100% review. I do like the romance, so I'm hoping this book will conclude in a really nice way with the romantic stuff going on. The romance does not take up the entire book. I do appreciate that. And it's extremely cozy. So I think it's going to end up being like a 4.5. If it ends really well, it may end up being a 5-star. I don't know yet. But it's long. It is a long book. It's like 24 hours listening to it. And, oh boy, that's a long book. Especially like, I don't know, this book, it seems like it drags just a little bit. But it's not a bad way that it drags. It's just kind of slow. And it's a slow-paced book, and it's fine. I like that. Other books that I read for Victober, there was a group read for The Way We Live Now by Anthony Trollope. So there was a book read. There was a group read for The Way We Live Now by Anthony Trollope. And I liked the selection. I enjoyed parts of it. It was broken out very well. The schedule was done very, very well. I think the days of the weekend, all you had to do was read 4 chapters. Sunday, Saturday, 4 chapters. And then the weekdays, you read 3 chapters a day. So it was very doable. The book itself is about 100 chapters, so it works out mathematically if you break it out that way over 31 days. Really, really nice. Pace was okay. There were some chapters of that book that I really was interested in, really wanted to know what happened to the characters, really invested. And then there were some chapters, especially anything having to do with the bear garden, I could care less. I could care less about what happened to those men in that book. They were so uninteresting. All of them were just had a negative view of women in general, and it just kind of disgusted me whenever the men even opened their mouths in this book. The women were the stars of the show of this book. I feel like their characters, while I did not really love all of the characters in this book, there were a few that I became kind of fond of during the end of it. Ruby Ruggles, I love her. I don't really like what happened to Ruby Ruggles at the end, though. I'm going to be honest. If you've read The Way We Live Now by Anthony Trollope, you will understand why. I don't want to spoil it. It's a great story. But yeah, like I feel like Anthony Trollope could have done better by some of these women in these books for sure. But it is the Victorian era. It is, it's just that era. There you go. So anyway, I still enjoyed it though. I don't know if I'm going to read another Trollope though. I may just kind of reserve that sort of material for next Victober, perhaps. I know for sure I'm going to be trying to pick up more Victorian authors because I have really noticed that I do enjoy reading Victorian authors. Some of them are so talented. I really want to read a Gaskell, and I really want to read a Hardy coming up very soon. Okay, and the last book that I read for Victober is The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. I thought this book was really cool. In some aspects it was really cool, but then in others it just was like, what is going on? I have no idea what these people are talking about. And I don't know if I was distracted while I was trying to read this or if my mind was occupied by other things, but because I kind of just, you know, kind of didn't follow the story very well. I don't know. I ended up giving it a 3 stars. It was interesting, but it just maybe just went over my head. Maybe there was just something wrong with me. I don't know, but there's something there. I know there's something there. So I think I'm going to end up reading it again at some point soon, and maybe trying to understand what happened a lot better in the book. I thought the ending was interesting, though. I was not expecting that at all. But for some reason, it did not strike me that well. So my review was, thank goodness it was short. I said, I had a hard time keeping my interest. Movies based on this book, and there are many, tell the story much better. That's what I wrote for that. And I think that I just wasn't in the right headspace for it, maybe. Because a lot was going on at the time. You'll find out why in another video. But anyway, I ended up giving it 3 stars again. But you know, it wasn't terrible. I think that the description of the writing was really good. I was not feeling it for some reason. But it was gothic. I liked the gothic elements of it. I just didn't like the story, I think. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me what was going on in the story, to be perfectly honest. So anyway, so that was all the Victober stuff I read. I think I had a really nice Victober. I think that was absolutely wonderful. Other books that I am working on, so I mentioned Villette, and I'm still working on Villette as soon as I get that back. And I will finish it out as quickly as I possibly can. And I am still reading Wolf Hall. So Wolf Hall, still really enjoying it. I am planning on picking that right back up as soon as I'm done with Villette. And, well, I'm kind of reading a chapter here and there, so I've been kind of going between Villette and that. So I do plan on trying to finish out Wolf Hall as soon as possible and, you know, wrap that guy up. I do have some other really exciting stuff for the month of I still have some really exciting stuff for the month of November coming up. And one book came out recently that I'm so excited for, and I had to get it immediately as soon as possible. And I even ordered some stuff from Blackwell, which I've never done a UK order before for books. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I think that will do it for right now. I hope you all had a wonderful October. I hope that you had wonderful reading adventures. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye!